Finding Your North Star, a journey with the magician archetype and modes of being. So I'm really excited for today. We're going to be doing a lot. I hope you can be here for the whole workshop, but whatever you can be here for is perfect. There's no amount of time commitment you need or anything like that. And today is our final in like this series of group coaching workshops. And so I thought it was a good theme for today that we're all connecting more deeply with our purpose and our guidance, whatever that is. We're going to begin with Magician Archetype because I find that as we, through our creative mind, enter into a connection with the part of ourself that's very creative, connecting to that universal archetype of mystery and magic and alchemy, it opens a space for us to more easily find our inner resources and connect with our knowing, our inner wisdom. So the purpose of everything today is to support you in that connection with your own truth and to find your own insights, your own clues about what feels most authentic for you, what you can add into your life to increase that sense of meaning and purpose and joy that is really individual, where, you know, I might find the greatest joy in one activity and you might find it in something totally different. We're all unique this way. So this is very much a personal workshop. And if you can open up a place in your computer to write or have a piece of paper, if you like to draw as you do it, if you want to dance, whatever you need. Dance, snack, paint, play with your animals, whatever it is, invite your children along, whatever works for you today. But there will be a time for journaling. So I do think the journaling is helpful. And if you journal more through drawing, then do it that way, please. All right. And Linda is here as our team member assisting. So any questions, please write to her in the chat. And I've just opened up my chat. So if you guys want to just say hi, so I know you're here and I know the chat is working, that is great. And all throughout today's journey, when we are reflecting and journaling, I know some of you really enjoy sharing with the group, and that maybe will really help someone here. So what I find is that when we each share what we're gaining, it really helps make connections for other people too. So whatever you can share, please share, because I find that we co-create this as well as we create it with the connection to non-ordinary reality and um, our guides and helpers in the more mystical space. So Magali today is pretty tired. I haven't slept well for 2 nights, but I was saying to a friend, that's okay, because I'm going to ask my guides to really lead today as much as possible. I know that might sound weird to some of you and normal to others, um, but it's a way really to honor that creative mind that we each have. And since I'm asking you to do that, I'm going to do it too. Okay, so we're going to begin with the magician archetype. I'm just going to see if there's anything in the slideshow that I wanted to highlight before we start. I know sometimes our thinking mind benefits from knowing kind of what's ahead. And so I never like to make it all a surprise, although today I do want it to be a little bit of a surprise. But we're going to start with maybe a 10-minute meditation with the magician archetype, finding that place, that environment, that landscape that we can enter into internally of magic and creativity. And and then we will, and here are some qualities of the magician archetype: seeing new ways, feeling wonder, a visionary, a connector of things, flexibility, combining things in new ways. And And so that will set us up. It'll be a resource generating journey. And I find that this universal energy of wonder and magic and creativity is something that as we each connect to, we amplify it for each other as well. And then we'll explore modes of being, and that's when we'll be journaling and talking. And then we will do a another guided meditation at the close of our workshop that focuses on filling with our truth and connecting to our guidance through the metaphor of a star and how that star shines light on our path and how we can feel that starlight within us to help us to really align with whatever it is in us that creates the most meaning and purpose. And when we are aligned with meaning and purpose, whether it's in what we would call small ways or big ways, small ways are big ways and big ways are small ways. So, um, but when we're aligned with that, joy naturally arises. In some of us, that might be a quiet joy. In others, it might be a big, blissful joy, but it does arise. So I find that through meaning and purpose, and meaning and purpose, by the way, doesn't mean just helping other people. Meaning and purpose can take many, many pathways. And so when that is really connected to for us, the joy naturally follows. And I think everyone always wants to be a little happier, right? Even just what do they say, 10% happier? But I think people would like to be often 70 to 100% happier, not just 10%. Okay, so let's close our eyes if you're comfortable doing that. If you want to lie down or if you want to move, really trust your body. And just begin by breathing, taking some nice full breaths, expanding as you breathe, releasing as you exhale. I lately just love the double inhale and the long exhale. So you breathe in once as much as you can, and then breathe in a second time a little bit more, really filling your body with air, with energy. And then long, long exhale as slow and easy, letting go as you exhale. We're all going to breathe in our own way and our own pace. So just make sure your breath is comfortable, comfortable for your body today. And saying hello to the inside of yourself. What's it like to use the friendliest, kindest voice as you welcome yourself today into meditation? And when you're ready, just imagine you're sending roots down into the earth as you breathe. You might imagine your feet go down deeper into the earth. And with every inhale and exhale, you allow the energy of Mother Earth to show up inside of you. And you commingle your energy with Earth's energy. This supports us to be grounded, protected. You might want to imagine a beautiful bubble of light around you, feeling that light on all sides, in front of you, behind you. Grounded, present, safe, light-filled. And it can be nice to say something to ourselves in this space, a message of protection, safety, home. It can be very simple. I am enough. I am here. Maybe you want to go so far as I am my own best friend. And in this spirit of friendship and kindness, of radiance, let's begin to imagine the landscape of the magician archetype. the universal energy of wonder, creativity, magic, transformation. And this landscape might be a place you've been in the world, or it might be a place you've read about or seen in movies or imagined. I always think of the Star Wars movies and Lake Como in Italy. Um, but your landscape might be very unique to you. It might be a place from childhood. So just bringing yourself there as you imagine what the colors are like, the view. There might be certain textures, a quality to the air. And noticing the weather and how it feels to imagine this place that's magical. How does the body feel? Let yourself move your head a little bit or your hands if you wish, as though you're just looking around your landscape. You might not be seeing through visuals, you might be seeing through feelings or knowing, and just opening up all your senses. We can invite the magician archetype to show up for us as a guide, a teacher. They might be a person, an animal, a mythical being in the form of an angel or an avatar. They may have an animal helper there. And as you imagine your landscape, you might want to explore it to find where the magician archetype lives. Do they have a cottage, a cave, a clearing in the forest, or the beach? And just as though you're creating a short story or a poem, create your magician archetype. Let yourself imagine as a writer would, giving words that create images, as though you were painting a picture. And it could be that you feel the energy of the magician archetype more than you see or even have words for them. It might be more of a noticing of how that energy feels in you. We can relate to our magician archetype in us or in front of us, next to us. And just saying hello to this quality of the magician, the sorcerer, the magic maker, the creative. Ask your magician archetype to show you in what ways they show up now in your life. What activities, relationships, quiet times of day, values you have. How do they show up in your life right now? They may show up in a form of movement or expansion or knowing or observing. As you feel into these qualities, notice how the energy is in you. Is there a speeding up or slowing down? Is there a temperature or a shift in a feeling? Just noticing in all of your body, all of your senses. And maybe you have a question for your magician archetype, or maybe they have a question for you. So just imagine you and your magician archetype are exchanging ideas, ways to make your life even more extraordinary, creative, purposeful. Your magician archetype might show you a picture of yourself in your life, experiencing joy, flow, feeling very natural in yourself, content. You might show this to your magician and ask for their assistance. There may be a remembering of a past time when you felt a deep sense of flow, a deep wonder and awe, appreciation, or a sense of just being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing for you. So let yourself journey back in time or forward in time or right in the present time to whatever qualities allow you to enter that reality where you are engaging in life in a way that feels just right for you, just so authentic and natural. And your magician archetype has the ability to take you there, to fill you with this knowing, this reality. It might even be just like you slide right into that time, that knowing, and it might be in the future. It might be in the past. Time is not linear here. Let yourself feel that quality in yourself. You might notice an activity you're doing. Perhaps there's other people, perhaps there are animals, perhaps you're inside somewhere or in nature. Take in the elements and ask the magician, is there a way you can help me more often to remember this? How do I call to you, magician? And let the magician give you a symbol or a picture, a gesture, a word, some kind of sign that you will know when you need that magic to help you get into your authentic mode of being that makes time flow easily, that fills you with a wonder and an inner sense of things just being natural and right. For some, many activities might show up, and for some, it might just be one, or not an activity at all, instead, an inner knowing, a being with oneself or with another. We're each unique in this place of imagining and knowing. And each of our magician archetypes are unique too. So take them in, take in your magician archetype, notice their qualities, appreciate the signs they give you, the ways of connecting with them. And if they have a gift for you, receive it. It might surprise you. It might just be the gift of a color, the gift of a word or a song, a thought. When you're ready, thank your magician and imagine them again in their landscape, that landscape of wonder and ease and beauty. Imagine them interacting with this landscape. Thank them and let them return to their universal quality in their landscape. As you come home completely to your body, returning to your breathing, feeling into your feet and hands as you take 3 wonderful, long breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Before opening your eyes, notice what it's like to travel inside your forehead to where your third eye would be or is. I like to sometimes touch my forehead as a reminder right between the eyebrows and just imagine going deeper within and saying hello to that inner place of intuition, seeing. If you'd like to tap your forehead, or I like to gently rub the forehead a little bit as I do this. And then putting a hand on your heart and a hand on your solar plexus and taking another nice breath, kind of an energy hug for yourself. And opening your eyes and putting your hands on both legs. You might want to rub a little bit from your hips down to your knees. Saying hello to the knees, hello to the feet, tapping a little. Okay, how are you doing? Was it nice to visit the magician? Can everybody write one word that describes their magician? Mine was purple. I love that. Glenda, universal, gentlemanly. I'm curious also if one of your senses sort of took center stage during that journey, or was it a lot of different senses together? Some of us are visual, some of us hear things, some of us have it's more energy of feeling. And you know that sense of feeling in non-ordinary reality can be quite subtle, so we have to really appreciate it if that's our way. So for me, it's definitely an energetic feeling, and I have to always remind myself to enjoy that because I'm a little bit tough on myself and I'm like, oh, why don't you see things anymore? Or turn it into this or whatever. So sometimes we just have to really appreciate the more subtle within us. Beautiful shares here. Yoda, knowing, feeling, friend, multicolors from a piece of stained glass in childhood home. Wow. A lovely buzz of love, understanding, more of a feeling too. So I'm just reading everyone's comments in case some of you are still eyes closed and listening. The energy and breath is a magic. Mine was Chat GPT. I've never heard that one before that. That's great. Atlas in a Franciscan monk dress. Mine was not a human form. It was like a cloud hovering above the ground with gray clouds. Beautiful. Yeah. All right. So I think we've all done a fantastic job of connecting with the magician archetype. I'm going to guide us now into the more I'm looking for the right word. I'm not finding it. We'll explore our modes of being. And if for some of you that concept is new, I'm going to I'm gonna explain it more. I definitely spoke about it in the meditation. But now that we're here in, I think we've at least got one foot in ordinary reality. Maybe a hand or a foot is still there in non-ordinary reality, and that's just perfect. So when we look at our life and ourself, kind of observing, we can notice that there are definitely qualities where we feel more natural. So some of us might feel more authentic and real and good when we're, let's say, taking care of others. And some of us might feel more ourself and good when we're creating something or when we're strategizing or planning. Some of us might feel this sense, this quality of flow and ease when we're engaged in humor. So there's all these different ways that we might find a way of connecting with life that takes on a specific mode of being. So here's a list of some. This is not all of them. And these are not archetypes. They're not values. They're not emotions. They're words we give for a way we can relate to being. It might feel like a part of us, but it's more engaged like a doingness. So when I'm telling a story, and I don't think storyteller is on here, but storyteller might be a mode of being. When I'm strategizing to solve something, that would be a mode of being. When I'm leading, when I'm negotiating, when I'm connecting things together or amplifying things or creating peace or vision, being a visionary, seeing the way things could be in the future, or even being critical, seeing what's wrong with something. That's also a mode of being. So there's no hierarchy here. One of these is not better than the other. They're all ways that we have of relating with life that give us purpose and a sense of flow, of time just sort of dropping away to, in a really big way. It might be more subtle, right? But in a really big sense, it would be like, wow, when I'm climbing a mountain and my whole everything fades away and it's just me and the wind and the earth and the adventure. That's my adventure mode of being, and I feel the most authentic. Now, that's not me. I haven't climbed a mountain in a really long time, but I mean, I like climbing mountains and everything. It's a good thing, but it's not like my authentic mode of being, but I can imagine it. And it gives me joy even to imagine someone else might be the adventurer. I struggle just to get on a plane and fly to New York, but um, I love it when I have friends that are the adventure mode of being. Same with the thinker. It might be for you, the word might be intellectual. But right now, choose a few of these that you connect to or write your own. It might not be on this list. Every time I teach this, I change the words I use. There's no like official list here. And when you have a few written down, I'm going to ask you some questions, but I do want to give everyone time to write down a few that relate to you. And the reason we're doing this is that knowing our authentic, truthful mode of being or modes of being, if you have more than one. I've talked to some people that have a lot of them. And I've talked to some people who are very clear about which one is the most important to them. Doesn't matter either way, however you relate to that. When we find what the actions are, the activities that help us empower and activate our natural mode of being, or you could say our core mode of being, it's a lot easier to bring ourselves into a state of meaning and purpose in our life, getting that greater percentage of joy, that uptake in our zest for life, our purpose. And this will really inform us in the bigger view and that connection with our path and what our life is about. Now, it's okay, it's perfect, it's normal if you realize that one of your authentic modes of being you don't do that often, or you did it a lot earlier in your life and not so much now. Maybe you keep telling yourself you'll do it when you retire or in the summer or in the winter or something, like you put it off because it's so important to you. It seems like too much to just step into it a little bit. Do you guys know what I mean? Because sometimes what happens is we tell ourselves that is so important to me. I have to have a lot of time for it. I've really got to clear my calendar so I can go for it. And then that usually does not lead to doing it. Actually, it leads to kind of idolizing it and not engaging with it. I'm totally guilty of this. Like for me, it's painting and doing my artwork. And I used to be really good for some reason at doing it all the time. And lately, I look back and I'm like, wow, for the last 6 months, I've barely painted. And it's like, whoa, what am I waiting for? So, do I need the right canvas or the right room or something? Like, what's up with me? So sometimes we realize that we are putting something off. And it's not important really why we're putting it off, although I welcome you to know that about yourself. It's more important to realize how important that is for you. And then ask yourself, how could I now start engaging with it in a small way? Like with me in painting, maybe it's not actually painting. Maybe it's appreciating other people's art. Maybe it's making a website of my art. Who knows? It doesn't have to be a specific activity. It can be the way we enter into deeper relationship with that mode of being. So who has found one or two or three modes of being they connect with a lot? And once I was teaching this, and a student wrote to me such a sweet email, and she said she realized most of her life she had been a survivor. A lot of difficult things had happened to her. And the mode of being she could connect with was she survived that, and then she survived that, and then she got through that. And there were values. She was strong. She was courageous. She was consistent. There were values related to that surviving. But what she realized was no more. Now I want to engage a new mode of being. So we might realize that too as we do this. Like, wow, I've always been the nurturer, but you know what? That was wonderful. And now I'm ready for this new mode of being. So notice if your modes of being are what you want as well as what is true for you. Now, sometimes, for example, with the nurturer, it can be very tied to relationships. So like in my life, definitely the nurturer, strong mode of being. And now my children are adults or not living with me. And so, okay, I have my dogs. That gives me a little bit of the nurture. I don't have grandchildren yet. I have some friends with grandchildren, but I'm not gonna it's not right. It doesn't feel right for me in my life right now to to try to replace that nurture. It's more that I need to appreciate the time that it was such a priority. Know that it's important to me, but now I need to find some other modes of being that are that give me joy. So sometimes we do realize that like there was a life what's the word, like a period in life where that was easier. Like some might have had a career where you were a strategist, and that you're not going to like go out of your way now to be a strategist necessarily. So you find another mode of being that you feel more connected to. So it's okay for them to change with life. But we also might, in looking back, go, oh, wow, when I was younger, I really enjoyed getting the party started. I'm sure there's some people here like that who are like, they were the spark in a group. They got people dancing or laughing or enjoying the environment, and they don't do that anymore. So now they go, okay, how could I bring that in a little bit more? Is it through dancing? Is it through creating a team? Like what would match well with that mode of being? I know some of you are my students, and I just shared this story, but I love it. I was once working with in a group environment with a student, a man who realized he was a very serious dad. being a dad was primary in his life. He was also a therapist and actually a hypnotherapist and happy with his career. And he was also a great son. He did not have a partner. His son's mom was not in the picture. And so he was really in nurture kind of rule keeper, very careful to be a good parent and follow a lot of plans and a strict calendar and times of everything so he would feel like a good parent. What he realized what was missing was his younger self was a joker, but he actually had built up a resistance to being a joker because his dad was a cruel joker. His dad played practical jokes that made people suffer, made his mom suffer, I think. And so he didn't want to be that kind of joker as his dad was, which sometimes we will realize we don't want to be like a parent or someone else in our past. But when he told the group how much joy it gave him to tell jokes and be funny, everyone in the group supported him to bring that into his role as a parent, to bring that into his dating life, to see the ways that joking can be healthy, not toxic. So sometimes that's if you feel a resistance to your natural mode of being, if you think of it and you go, but, lots of buts, probably there's some resistance there because of another example or the way it made you suffer in some way. And you can look now at the toxic side and the healthy side and find ways to bring in the healthy side. And Deborah, you've got your hand up. Hi. Oh, hold on. Let me.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Feeling awake now.
Good. So I have a question. So mode of being and parts of self. So I think of mode of being as like like part of myself, like, right? So I'm a nurturer, right? So okay, so you brought up children. Okay, children are gone.
Yeah.
Not even a dog, really, too much. But I do tend to be that in the world, right? Like, so I'll
Right.
meet something, whatever, like I
Right.
know, like, or,
And I know because we know each other a bit, like I know how you do that for a neighbor or a
right,
friend,
right,
and
right,
you create spaces that are nurturing. So nurturing has like evolved in your life, and you see how it's through relationships and actions, and probably you nurture yourself more now too.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's a little different than there may be a part of you, because you asked how does this relate to parts? So there might be a part of you that you can connect to um, that has a distinct kind of characteristic, like your younger self, or I don't know what you would call them. And so they might have the quality of the nurture, but they're different than the action, the being, and the doing of the nurturing. Do you see what I mean? It's not an identity. It's more something we can activate through our actions.
So a nurturer, you're not born a nurturer. Like, so I'm thinking of astrology, right? So I'm thinking of my
You
chart.
might be. I don't know. I don't know. For some, it might be like that. For some, it might be learned. But what's important is what gives you joy. What gives you a sense of flow. That's what really matters.
Oh, got
We
it.
don't know what made it be born in us. We can explore. That's good. But it might be more important, how do I activate it now?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I got it.
Yeah. Okay. And like when you guide meditation or when you do your practice, that might be when you're really empowering the nurturing too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
back.
You're reminding me like when I take care of my plants, like that's definitely the nurture?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I talked to
Yeah.
them. My orchids came back this year. We had a whole like, oh
Yeah.
God, I talk to them every day.
And then also because so many of us are coaches. So when we're coaching or helping someone in whichever way, whether it's a group or a person or, creating material to help people, that's also the nurture. But it's the professional. way that nurture gets to live.
So basically so you're saying like, okay, so basically the mother becomes a different type of a nurturer, right? So the mother, so it's really the mother that changes, right? The nurturer is a nurturer, but the mother, right, is right. So you like the
Well, I
children
think
come.
of it more as a doing. So when you're talking to one of your sons
I'm gonna
on
say
the phone,
I'm still doing that too,
you're
right?
still doing it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it changes with time, right?
Oh,
And the
absolutely.
way you do it and your connection to it. And so, we can start like you and I in our life, and I'm sure other people here in the call, like we might see how 5 years ago I related to the nurture with a different kind of emotion or a different kind of need. And now it has evolved in this way in me. And this is the way I now want to, like, maybe I want to use that mode of being more in my friendships.
All right.
So you get to make those decisions.
Yeah, I love that the part that like what brings you joy, right? Like the joy part of it,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That's
Thank you for sharing. And I love it when people want to bring up these questions and engage. It's awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my slides again. I see some questions also in the chat. Um, what business am I in now? That's a great question. And bringing it into the moment. Absolutely, Donna. We get to spark joy. And it can be in little, like what I find as a coach that helps people the most is finding the detailed activities. Like, is it on a daily walk? How do you decide consciously now I want to bring this mode of being? Let's say someone discovers the observer. How do I want to do something small every day that honors my observer mode of being? What would that be like? And ask yourself, does my body feel different? Is my breathing different? Is it a different emotional sense when I'm being the whatever it is mode of being for you? And it can be a very simple practice, like for myself, because one of my modes of being is the creative and the observer, and being a photographer. Really, my whole life since I was maybe got my first camera at like age 8, having a camera in my hand is a prop for being both a creative and an observer. So now, so wonderful. What an incredible world that I have a phone, you know? So always have a camera with me. So when I walk, which, I do for health, when I walk, I take pictures of things I'm observing that I find meaningful or beautiful. And it's just a little thing, a few minutes a day, but it does activate the creative and the observer. So we can make it quite small. We can take a hot bath or make ourselves a cup of tea and think of the nurture mode of being. What about the planner? We can use the planner mode of being in our planning for our weekend or our career. The planning mode of being, those of you who are lucky enough for that to be a strong mode of being, that gives you joy. Wow. That we relate often with being productive and organized and all these values in our society that we're like, yay, be that mode of being. Not that many people are like, be the dreamer, be the mystic. Come on. Do you dream enough? Do you relax enough? You'll get that from me, but most people are not cheerleading those qualities. But so notice, oh, is my authentic mode of being kind of out of fashion? Is it not so held up by society? Can I honor it in my own way? Like how do I go against the grain a little and honor my mode of being for me? Because when we do this, we get more energy. So even if our natural mode of being does not match our job or our relationships, it's still valid and important. It just might not be it how do I put it, like I'm thinking of a person I worked with who really, it was like she had a mode of being that was stillness and presence. And it was this sort of Very, very spiritual, expanded view she could enter into. But she had a busy job, busy life, lots of people depending on her. So she had to find ways to take 1 minute breaks where she could enter the expansion mode of being and really enjoy for 1 minute being in that quality. And that, she was hoping that that would become kind of in everything, that sort of oneness expansion. But in the meantime, she could take 1 minute conscious breaks of entering into that state. Just like I take my 5 minutes a day with my observer mode of being. What about analyzing thinker? Now that one's usually in very popular, right? Very, very given a lot of front stage in the world. So, but do you honor it for yourself? Just because culturally it might be given that, do you honor it? Do you say to yourself, this is good when I'm reading or when I'm journaling or when I'm planning something? I am in this analyzing mode of being and I value it. Because sometimes we're also like in subcultures where, like, let's say we're in like kind of new age consciousness communities and it's all about embodiment. Don't overthink it. Don't analyze, really be in, come on, it's what I say all the time. And yet the the thinker, the intellectual, the strategist is of huge value. It's beautiful. So we need to appreciate it, and we can appreciate it from an embodied place, right? So I think this is really about appreciating our own mode of being. Can a mode of being become out of balance and a negative pattern? Yes, I think especially when it's adopted from other people, or it's like a way you push yourself as a should. If it's really your authentic mode of being, I mean, it could become like a crutch that you've gone so far. Let's say someone is a creative mode of being. I'll give an example of when it could be kind of negative and think of your own. Let's say someone's in creative mode of being and they've been fortunate. They got an art scholarship when they were 18. They did amazing training. Their artwork made a lot of money. Now they have a huge art studio. Everyone wants to purchase their incredible art, and they pushed themselves to do more and more. They were hard on themselves to be more creative, to be original, and their identity became so much part of that mode of being. Their ego became so attached to being a creative and different and all of that, that it became negative because there was nothing else. It kind of took over. And so you'll see that in some people who are like toxic gurus or celebrities who kind of like, become pretty yucky. It's like their mission, they forgot all the other parts of themselves and it became their brand. They became their brand and they pushed themselves to be their brand, kind of. And I'll even have sometimes some people say to me, like, that's not my brand. And it's like, wow, what a funny way to think of oneself as a brand? But I think that's when it can become a little bit unhealthy. The same when it's really related to other people. So when we work with someone who, it's natural to have grief or loss when a role in our life changes. That's really natural. But when someone is very afraid of like their children leaving home or their connection to their best friend who has to move to another state or whatever it is, there's like so much of the identity has become merged with, let's say, the friend mode of being was their really go-to. And then their friends, for whatever reason, leave where they live, and then they feel they've lost their identity as well. So I guess that's what's coming through here is that an identity can be over dependent on a mode of being, and that's when it could become a little unhealthy. What great questions. Okay, let me see what else is in our slides, and then we want to do our North Star journey. Okay. Did anyone find that their authentic mode of being was living more in the past? So if you found that, it's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of no's, but if anyone found that, ask yourself how in today's life can you bring it in more in small ways? Also, do you notice when you kind of shift out of alignment in your day? Are you pushing yourself to be doing something because it's on your to-do list or you value it as an activity, but it's really not kind of your natural mode of being? And is there a way to bring that more in alignment with your natural mode of being? So let's say as coaches, sometimes we push ourselves quite hard to create content or to do social media or marketing or something that might not feel authentic. Whereas for someone who's more the thinker or the amplifier or the visionary, that would be an authentic mode of being. But let's say someone is more the friend, nurture, creative mode of being, and they get a little allergic to the actions they have to do to promote themselves or their business. How can you bring in the your authentic mode of being into those actions? Even just with like 3 minutes of honoring your authentic mode of being before you have to do one of those actions. And that can really help you sometimes do the things that are less natural for you in business. I have to do a lot of this when it comes to different tasks in my life. I have to try to find kind of the feeling, the vibe of my authentic mode of being while doing those actions that are not easy for myself. So I always think people are like me. So I'm assuming that we're all similar in some way with that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so time for the North Star. Anyone have any questions before our meditation?
So Magali, there is a
Yeah.
question in chat. Angela asks if you could kind of repeat kind of the overview of mode of being, and I think she's asking kind of a little more about what that is.
Mm-hmm. Let me should I share the slide again? Do you think that would help?
That might.
Okay. So a mode of being is a way we relate to actions, to the world, to our communities, to our time in our day. So a natural mode of being, we all enter into these different modes of being to do different things. So um, let's say there's a person named Jennifer. And Jennifer, when she's home with her young children, enters a playful mode of being. She's great at telling stories and making voices, and sometimes they take out all the pots and pans and they make a music band, and it's a lot of fun to be in the playful mode of being with her kids. Then Jennifer goes to work where she's a creative. She's designing ads for her company, and she enters into her creative mode of being, and she's quite serious. She's not very playful there at work. And then when she goes out with her friends, she's often the thinker. She's often the person in the group who's really analyzing what people are saying, asking good questions. So those take prominence in her life, she realizes. At work, she's the creative. With friends, she's the thinker. With the kids, she's playful. But she has a problem. She never feels that any of those really work well in her romantic life. She's married. And that's where she comes to you for coaching. And Jennifer says, so thank you for that talk on modes of being. And I get it when I'm with my kids. I get it when I'm at work. I get it with my friends. But what's my authentic mode of being with my partner? And so we might look at how to bring in the playful or the creative into her relationship. Maybe the thinker too. So these are more like action ways of being. Now, in the conversation with Jennifer, it might come forward that she's the most comfortable as the creative, but the playful is close and it works well with her family. The thinker is another way she engages with people because she finds it easier socially for whatever reason. But the creative is her more authentic way. And if we know that, then we might ask, how could we bring that creative more into the romantic relationship or into the friendships? And even, as the kids get older, bringing the creative into the family life because it's a way of relating to people. You're still you, um, but it leads to doing activities that are more one way or another. Where, let's say, Jennifer's neighbor, Tom, is the adventurer, and he uses that mode of being at work because he creates some kind of like activities for his team that are adventuresome. He uses it at home because he makes everyone go on camping trips that are full of adventure, and that's Tom's mode of being. Is that helping? I'm hoping that's helping. And I see BB has her hand up. Hi, BB.
Hi, Magali. Yeah, I just thought I'd share this thing about when you were questioning whether people had a brand. S-
Yeah.
I discovered this very week. Did you know there was a laureate branding, like poet laureate? I'd only
Oh,
heard
I know about poet laureates. Yes, yes. In the
exactly.
US, yes.
But there's a brand laureate, and I never knew that. I was shocked to find out. I thought I'd share it because one of the
Interesting.
women I mentored, she got it, and she's one of only 500 people in
Wow, interesting. Very
uh,
interesting.
other
Yeah,
people like Jack Welch, all these famous people, Steve
yeah,
Jobs.
yeah.
And there's an organizational laureate brand. So we're all learning about this branding thing. Apparently,
Oh,
I never knew
interesting.
people had brands.
Interesting.
Thanks. Wanted to share that. I'm loving this
Okay,
session.
thank you. Yeah, I used to study in college a long time ago with the poet laureate of the time, and Mark studied with him too. I'm forgetting his name now. Um, yeah, but that was well, yeah. So I did know about the poet laureate. Okay, anyone else have a share or question? I see there was a question here. What to do when my mode of being enthusiast triggers my husband in a way that makes him feel overwhelmed? What a great question. Yes, that can happen. So we are all entitled to have our natural modes of being, and sometimes they're different than the people we are close to. So we do need to, in relationships, sometimes make accommodations. And that might look like, this is my natural way of being, but I understand if it is overwhelming for you, we're going to need to find a way for me to be me and you to give me a sign maybe when it's making you anxious or causing some distress and opening up communication about that. Because I never want to, advise someone to make themselves smaller, right? And that's what can happen if our natural mode of being, like, and as coaches, sometimes has anyone had a family member say, don't coach me? Um, I've gotten that plenty of times from family members, like, oh, your mom, you're wearing your coach's hat. Like, come on. And sometimes they want that, right? So in our life, sometimes people want us to enter a mode of being. They like that about us. And sometimes it's not what they like about us. So at the end of the day, though, I think it's most important what gives us purpose and joy. And then unfortunately, we have to sometimes find find a meeting ground with a partner. I see this a lot with planners. Often someone who's a real planner will find that that might trigger their partner. and also creatives. I've worked with plenty of couples where one is a creative and that way of being might be too chaotic sometimes for someone else. So we have to really get into the details. What is it about that mode of being? Is there a slight way I can change my communication around it? Or is it a time of day thing? Because sometimes it's about the time of day or honoring each other's patterns of needing introversion or rest. So just also looking at, am I more in the couple, is one more extroverted and one more introverted, or does one need more um, kind of rest after social activities, for example? Okay, and Mina, hi.
Hello, Magali. First off, thank you so very much for doing this. I can express how grateful I am. And I apologize if you already answered this question and I didn't get it, but I need to kind of clarify. So the question is, in order to do tasks that we do not really like or are in our nature, so we have to figure out a way to be in our authentic vibe. So like, do I do things that are, let's say, in my authentic way of being, and then use that energy as a fuel to do something that I love
You know what?
doing,
Your audio is breaking up a little, but
or try to fight. Oh,
what I'm hearing the
yeah.
question is,
So
when a
yeah,
task is difficult, how do we bring in our authentic mode of being? Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that is the way of doing it is by doing first something that I actually love doing and brings me my authentic mode of being, or try to find another way to make something more bearable.
Well, yes, if you can. So, for example, if you have to do a lot of organizing and that's not an easy task for you, and you have an authentic mode of being that is to be creative, is there
Yes.
music you can listen to at the same time? Is there
Um,
rewards you can give yourself to enter more into the authentic mode of being? And we find these kind of life hacks, and I think really what we're doing is engaging with an activity we enjoy sometimes at the same time as we're doing something that's more challenging. So, does anyone like listen to audiobooks as they do something that's more challenging, or listen to music or a podcast? I think this is one way in our world we're incredibly fortunate. Um,
yes.
yeah, but it also might be those like 1 minute breaks. Like my client who took those 1 minute breaks of entering her expanded, more mystical mode of being, even if she was at a very hectic job workplace.
Mm.
So also the 1 minute break strategy can be really helpful. And then sometimes we have to look at, do we need to make changes in our life to honor our authentic modes of being so we can have more of that? Do we need more social time? Do we need more solo time? Like, what would that look like in our day to really honor our authentic mode of being? Okay, thank you, Mina. And Charisse, hi.
Mm.
Hi, Magali. Can you hear me all right?
I do. I hear you wonderfully.
All right. I was just thinking, I was just going back and thinking about being married, and I just in case this might serve in any way. So, I get pretty enthusiastic about the things that I want or something I want to do or all these things, right? And my husband would be okay, this is what she wants. I've got to make this happen. So, and then he would do something. I went, what is this? Well, you said you wanted it. Oh, no, I didn't really want it. So now I said to you, so we talked about it, right? That
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
communicated about it. And
Yeah.
I said, so I said, if I say things like that, it's just because like something just triggered me and I was like, oh, this is exciting. I said, but then ask me again in 5 minutes. Most likely it's going to change. And so, it's just that communication that we have. He knows, just give her some time to let it out. And then we'll come back and see if it's really something that sticks. So
I hear you 100%. That's so valuable. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'm a similar to you that way. Sometimes I feel like I need to have it like, we only go forward if it's on paper, right? Don't listen to what I'm just brainstorming. We got to put it on paper. Yeah, that was great. Um, okay. So now we're going to go on a little journey with our North Star. So I know we've been in our mind a lot and understanding ourselves, and that's really valuable. But if you've got a document open, you want to close it now, close your eyes, sit back, lie down. And let's just start with the body, actually. Let's start by holding our hands together and rubbing our hands together, breathing, feeling that connection between our palms. And see what it's like to hold your two hands. This is really balancing to the two sides of the body, regulating the nervous system. I don't know if you guys can see my hands. We're kind of holding our own hands and taking turns crossing them over. And take a pause and take a deep breath when you want, holding your two hands together. And when you're ready, just as you breathe, gently look over one shoulder and then the other, letting the breath guide you as you slowly move your head and neck. Go as slow as possible. Feeling into the lower body in this very, very gentle twist. We're connecting our mind with our body. And we're slowing ourselves down. When you're ready, let your body come into whatever stillness means for you today. And noticing inside if there is a point in your body you can find that you fill with light. One point. It might be a point in your heart. It might be a point in your head or your legs, your back. You might find one point, focus there for a moment, filling that with light, and then you find another point. And notice where these points are in your body. I just connected with the tip of my nose. These are probably types of energy centers. They might not be the main ones. But we have this amazing ability to enter our body and imagine light there. You might feel the light or see it, or just say it. Say that it's there. I'm filling this point with light. And it's perfect if you want more than one point. Now imagining this light inside of you is connected to a light in the universe, a path that connects between your inner light and the light of this star, the North Star, your North Star. And just imagining this light is like a compass. It's inside of you and it's outside of you in the universe. And your soul truth is the connection between this outer direction that becomes as wide and varied as you wish, and as close and centered and personal as you wish. So play with that idea now inside yourself. My inner light, my outer light. And notice if it's pointing you in a direction of witnessing or action, or is it a somatic experience in the body? Inner light, outer light. a path. And if you wish, you can allow this light to fill your whole body. And as your body fills with light, it radiates all around you. And that light that's the universal star, the guiding compass, it also grows bigger with your inner light. And just for a moment, be in the connection between this frequency of your luminous, light-filled being and this outer universal light. The two are talking to each other, creating an energy that is orienting and aligning. And you might begin to get ideas, images, feelings about your path, the way you are meant to relate to this life, this precious life you get to be in. And just notice what comes to you. It might be different for each of us. There might be an energy, there might be thoughts, there might be modes of being or actions, relationships, qualities, but just allow it to be what it is today. It might be a very sweet feeling in the body or in the mind or in space. And let your breath be with that inner light, so magnificent, so personal, outer light, so universal, so loving, and seeing what that connection is between the two. The inner light, the outer light, the connection between. Just like a roadmap. And allow anything to drop away that is in the way of this connection between your inner light and outer light. Do you notice anything that's kind of clogging that connection? Take your hand and just simply move it out. Release it. Let the connection be pure. Demands on oneself, any kind of belief or emotion that doesn't belong in this connection. Let it go. Anyone else's beliefs or emotions or thoughts, let them go. Allow your inner light and your universal light to connect in their own harmonization. And let your hands move, let your body move if it wishes to move. And see what it's like for the hands to guide this coming together, this alignment between the universal light of direction and the inner light, the inner knowing, the authentic mode of being, the purpose, the meaning that amplifies the joy and the connection and the love. And allow the body to teach you. Allow the breath to be your resource. And a reminder to release anything that doesn't belong within this connection. I let go of, and you complete that statement. I let go of. Maybe there are worries to release, or anxieties, or beliefs, and just let them go. If the body might twist as you release, welcome that twisting. The body might yawn or stretch. And when you're ready, when you start to find inner stillness again, thank your North Star, that universal light. Come back to your inner place of presence, that still point, feeling that inner radiance. Now perhaps it's a little different. You may want to put your hands together again and gently rub them up and down, slowly moving the hands up and down in front of the face, down slowly towards your lap. Feeling that central channel inside of you as the hands connect and move in front of you. And knowing that you are this radiance, this light, allowing it to be a beautiful bubble of light around you, connecting you with your purpose, your natural mode of being, your authentic joy. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and tapping the fingers if it feels right. How are you guys doing? So I really didn't know what to expect with that meditation. Kind of surprised me. It was interesting for me that this idea came in of this light outside and inside. So I know that might have been different for each of us. It was a very open process. But did anyone realize something they needed to release? I did. It was, for me, it was other people's emotions, actually. So that had been clogging a little bit my purpose mission. Great, my to-do list. Yeah. Self-doubt, stress and worry. Great things to release. This is like a list we can all turn to. So, that process of connecting to an inner light, and then I know it's, as a leader, it's a little bit challenging because I don't want to give too many instructions, because that universal light will be very different for each of us, what we're connecting to. But take some notes for yourself of what that means for you as a path at the deepest level. I'm not talking about like the worldly level necessarily, the deeper level of values, of feelings, of sentiments inside. Do you know what I mean? It's not about like, it's not a to-do list. It's that deeper truth. So, and sometimes when we notice what we're releasing, it can help us identify what fills us with light and purpose. So if I'm releasing anxiety, let's say, what am I honoring and filling with? And maybe your modes of being help you find that. So let's say your mode of being is to be a peacemaker. So what are the qualities of the peacemaker mode of being that you can fill with that light and connect with universally? Are there some heroes you have to connect that with, or some activities, or some small moments, some small practices? It could be reading a book. Yeah. Letting go of ego, especially when on a video call. That's beautiful. So just honoring that, what that means for you, letting go of ego. Partner's fears, releasing that. Now, what do you feel with? When you let go of ego, what do you feel with? Maybe it's compassion. Maybe it's a presence, a joy. Watching the world and listening. Just being, watching, being. Beautiful words there. loving kindness, peace. So people are starting to write what they fill with. And that filling with, I think, can really be our compass. That can be our light. That can be the direction we're going, what we're filling with. And sometimes we get distracted almost by what we feel we need to get rid of. You know, so often I hear from people that they need to release things that are important to release, but also that, like, the hand has two sides, the releasing has another side, and that's what you're filling with. And it's really helpful to always notice that dance. And sometimes it's a very, like in that meditation for me, it was a very kinesthetic process. I didn't really know what I was releasing. I just knew that I started to twist. And I knew I was letting go of something. I don't really know. I don't know. It doesn't have a word, but I'm releasing something stagnant, and then inviting something in that can just be light. We also don't have to make it more complicated than that. So if anyone wants to try that on their own, for a couple minutes, I'm just releasing, and then I'm coming into stillness, finding my inner light, imagining that outer light, and feeling into a connection and a filling up with whatever is simple for you as a word: light, love, truth, blessings, whatever works for you. Okay, does anyone have a share or a question before we wrap up? I do have one more little bit of journaling. I want to make sure I have time. And if you're here, Linda, if you see any questions in the chat I missed.
Mostly lots of beautiful shares.
Okay, great. That's what I'm seeing too. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the slides a moment because I've actually forgotten the questions. Okay. So the intention setting now. So opening your journal or closing your eyes and opening your heart, whatever feels better. Heart or journal or both. And how will I honor my authentic mode of being? So think about this week. Think of some small ways to honor your authentic mode of being. When will I check in with my magician archetype? Did your magician give you any instruction about when to check in with them, or a sign or a symbol? Remember, we started today with the magician archetype? So just noticing if there's anything you want to jot down to remember about your magician, or a way you want to check in with them before you do something, or maybe before you go to sleep. And the final question is, how do I feel the alignment with my North Star? So in that connection process, the inner light and the outer light, was there any details of the connecting between the two? And this might be visual, this might be kinesthetic, this might be an emotion, there may be words or songs, but I'm wondering what it's like for you, because that's what's unique and important. It may be that there's like a value there or a principle of some kind. Like I get the word harmony, truth. This is an energy that's in me and in the universe. And when they're connected, it guides my path. So are there key words for you about that connection? So what's most true and authentic for you and that quality in the universe? And how do those connect? And that really points to purpose, meaning, joy. So maybe people want to just jot down some words of that deeper knowing inside. Yeah, and there's a beautiful connection, isn't there, between that, just knowing we're not alone in the universe when we feel that deep that deep inner purpose or inner truth, and that it's also out there in the universe. Thank you, Debbie, for that. Oh, and beautiful through nutrition and food. That's a beautiful way to connect. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I know this was a lot we did in a short time, in less than an hour and a half. So I hope that it keeps moving in you and generating maybe new experiences. I always welcome you to return to this in your own meditation, or maybe before you go to sleep, invite your dreams to give you more harmonizing, more activating of your natural mode of being, or journaling. Journaling is a great way too, or dancing it. So if anyone has a question they haven't gotten answered or share, I welcome you to raise your hand or write it in the chat. And maybe what we'll do to close is just like I'm going to turn now to if I can figure out how to do this, to gallery view. And if you can turn on your video, that would be great. If you can't, that's okay. We see your name. Let's just take a moment to feel into the connection between all of us today. And just imagining that what came to me was we're in a circle and there is such a beautiful, strong light in the middle. Like we're around it, and this light is just growing and magnificent. And we're all sort of the custodians. I don't know if that word makes sense, but we're the appreciators and the connectors, honoring this light. And that light is made of all of our authentic modes of being, all of our purposes, and beautiful light and love. Yeah. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and that you keep feeling this connection and this inner radiance. Okay, guys, be well, and we'll hopefully talk soon. Take care, everybody, wherever you are. I see some friends I haven't seen for a long time. So good to be here with you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.